Hi, my name is Michelle Hidalgo and I'm going to talk about nephropathic cystinosis. First, the definition. Nephropathic cystinosis is a rare recessive storage disease that, if untreated, leads to end-stage renal disease in the first decade of life because of intracellular accumulation of cystine caused by mutant cystosinin, the transporter of cystine.
The main drug that Gabby takes to slow the progression of the disease is called cystigon. And in order for it to be effective, cystigon needs to be administered every 6 hours around the clock, day and night. And if we miss it by, at all, then there's more organ damage and tissue damage and cell damage that happens.
We mix it with Carnation Instant Breakfast because cystigon was originally formulated a long time ago by pharma companies to create ulcers. So they formulated this drug to create ulcers so they could find a
With cystinosis, cystin refers to cystine, an amino acid, and osis implies disease. So, cystinosis is a rare condition caused by mutations of the CTNS gene that leads to a cystine buildup in the body. This can cause tissue damage, especially in the kidneys and eyes. Cystine is an amino acid that comes from our diet. So when food travels through the stomach and intestines, the proteins within are broken down into tiny fragments called oligopeptides, or small strings of amino acids. Turnover of muscle, bone, and other parts of the body provide another source of protein that can be broken down into oligopeptides. Many of these oligopeptides end up in specialized vesicles called lysosomes, found inside all of our cells. Here, they are further broken up into amino acids like cysteine. Now, cysteine, like any other amino acid, has to leave the lysosome, and it does this with the help of a specific protein. The CTNS gene encodes for the protein cystinosin, a transporter that is found embedded in the lysosomal membrane. Its function is to export cysteine out of the lysosome. Now, in cystinosis, any one of over 100 mutations can affect the CTNS gene, leading to a defective cysteine transporter. Without a working transporter, cysteine has no way of leaving the lysosome, so it accumulates, turning into cysteine crystals in the process. Crystals that slowly damage organs, like the kidneys and eyes.
Now, applications in medicine. Since 1979, most patients in developed countries have received cysteamine, which enables the transport of cystine from cells and thus lowers the amount of intracellular cystine. Cysteamine has postponed ESRD and extrarenal manifestations until patients are in their teens or beyond. In contrast, patients in developing nations have remained largely untreated, mainly because of limited access to cysteamine.
Nephropathic, which means nephron wasting, and medullary cystic kidney disease, which refers to fluid-filled sacs in the medulla, are two kidney diseases that share some similar features. They're both genetic, they both affect the nephrons, and they both can lead to kidney cysts and renal failure over time.
Now, pros and cons. When we talk about pros, patients with stenosis in developing countries, as compared with those in developed countries, had markedly decreased linear growth. Cysteamine has postponed ESRD and extrarenal manifestations until patients are in their teens or beyond. Cons: 100% of prescription rate for cysteamine in developed countries. Only 54% in patients in developing countries receive the drug. In developing countries had limited access to cysteamine eye drops, supported therapies, and standard diagnosis and monitoring tools.
The Cystinosis Foundation educates families and patients and medical professionals about cystinosis. It is an ongoing mission. We have extended internationally On a biannual basis, we host educational conferences for medical professionals and families. This summer, July 24th through 26th, the Cystinosis Foundation is collaborating with the Cystinosis Foundation of the United Kingdom to host the 8th International Congress in Manchester in the United Kingdom. The two additional functions of our organization is supporting the Cure Cystinosis International Registry, which was established in 2010. You can visit the website at cystinosisregistry.org. We encourage every patient to register. This helps medical professionals understand more about this ultra-rare disease. An important aspect of our mission is mentoring the establishment of support groups around.
It should apply in Ecuador. Unfortunately, there are no reports or articles that show the prevalence of nephropathic cystinosis in Ecuador and its complications. But it's known that the disease affects mostly children and it's hereditary, which is why it's also called idiopathic infantile cystinosis.
So cystinosis is another example of a membrane protein important for transport that's either not being made or it's not fully functional. Like other genetic diseases, there's a number of changes. We focus in on individuals where the cystinosin protein is not being made because of a nonsense mutation. So by enabling individuals to make this protein, then they can once again transport cysteine. Now, cystinosis is a very unique example. The ideal patient would be a 6-month-old baby who was just diagnosed as having a lack of the protein. If we could intervene early and enable them to make the protein and it was fully functional, hopefully we could avoid most of the impact of today of what occurs when individuals don't have the transporter. Now, fortunately, for many individuals, there are approved drugs that allow them to complex the system.
Now the conclusion. Nephropathic cystinosis is one of a number of a rare disease for which therapy exists but is unevenly distributed, which leads to marked geographic disparities in outcomes. A solution to such disparities will require collaboration among medical experts, pharmaceutical companies, and health authorities to improve the availability and decrease the cost of disease-specific treatments. Thank you so much.